So I wanted to make this video to share information about the Steam frame, the deck, the machine, and the controller, and what this new ecosystem from Valve means, and how I think, depending on the price reveal of each of these products, this will shock the entire gaming industry, not just VR. That's Sony, Xbox, and Meta that I think should be worrying. I'll start off by covering what each of these new devices are, then I'll share what I liked about the Quest, what made the Quest unique, what features did it bring to the table that excited me, and then I'll talk how Steam have steamrolled over it all. Pun intended. A little disclaimer though that I'm not a SteamOS guru, I'm coming from a handheld / VR gamer angle, and I'm not going to be talking about teraflops and how many frames this means, but more about the experience that's going to be had with these products. So in Steam's new hardware line, there's an existing device called the Steam Deck. This released in 2022, the handheld gaming PC running SteamOS, still reigning as the best budget-friendly handheld offering, balancing performance versus the price point, with great ergonomics, stability, and affordable games, which is why after 3 years, even with powerful alternatives like the Legion Go 2, the Steam Deck is still regarded as the go-to for handheld gaming. It's not able to play the latest AAA games due to its hardware limitations, but it gives you access to a huge PC library. And games that have probably just been sitting there collecting dust, we're all guilty of it, just buying games in the Steam sale and never playing them again. The next product is the Machine, which looks to be Steam's home console, offering 6 times the power of the Steam Deck. It's also running SteamOS, again giving you access to the greatest gaming store available, and it has features like instant pause and resume on game states, and cloud saving across the board. The Machine is tiny, like seriously tiny. It's a 6-inch cube. Sorry, what I meant to say there, it was an average size cube, offering up to 4K 60 FPS gameplay using super sampling. It's leveraging AMD CPU and GPU. It also has Wi-Fi 6E support for the fastest 6 GHz Wi-Fi connectivity possible, and a built-in adapter for instant connectivity to the new controller. The surprising part about this reveal was it highlighted how consumer-friendly Valve is. They were offering expandable storage via high-speed microSD cards on this console. There's no need to buy proprietary expansions like we've seen with other devices. Plus, I think this is so nice, the customizable faceplates for the device, just like the Xbox 360. It also has no external power brick, plus this lovely customizable LED light at the front. And to take it even further, just like all of the other Steam products, it's fully customizable. It can be a PC if you want it to be. You can install your own applications. You can even install a different operating system if you wanted to use it for other things like productivity. It's got a super clean design with endless possibilities, making this a great fit for most rooms in the home versus, a high-end RGB gaming PC. It doesn't really sit well in the living room. Well, debatable. Next, as a VR channel, I was waiting for Valve's new VR headset. It's been meta for the better half of a decade nearly. I was waiting for the boundaries to be pushed, like the Index back in its day. That was an incredible device, nothing could compete. But personally, I don't think Valve went as far as they could. I was expecting more spec-wise. Instead, I think they've pushed just enough to be ahead as a mainstream leader, and they've done something really smart that I will touch on in a bit. So the Steam Frame is an inside-out VR headset. That inside-out tracking means you don't need external sensors for it to track your movement. It also offers wireless VR play connecting to a PC for higher-end VR gaming. So the Frame is a standalone VR headset as well. Unlike the Index, which was PC only, the Frame is an all-in-one system. So the headset can play and run games all contained within the device, just like the Meta Quest. I'm not going to deep dive on the specifications of what that means, but the long short is the device has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is about 30% more powerful than the Quest 3. It has double the RAM at 16 gig for good reason too. It has storage, which is expandable via an SD card, which is amazing, but again, there's good reason for that too. It has a higher resolution than the Quest at 2160 squared, but it is an LCD panel, not OLED, but this is due to the lenses being pancake, which is fantastic by the way. But they suffer from light loss, so it needed a panel that produces more light, and it's also a cheaper option, so the device could be more affordable. It has higher refresh rates than the Quest, reaching up to 144 Hz. It has a worst IPD range, which is the compatible distance between your eyes, but a slightly higher FOV by a few degrees at 110. But more importantly, the device is actually lighter, 440 grams, and some of that weight is actually moved to the back of the headset where there's a battery, so it acts as a counterweight. So the face weight is marginal in comparison. A bit that was interesting, which kind of shows where Valve stands on this, it has no color pass-through like the Quest. It does have an expansion port for peripherals, I'm assuming for something like face tracking modules, but the black and white cam is not only a saver of money, it's cheaper, making the device more affordable, but it also screams that Valve are not really focusing on or seeing much value in mixed reality. A huge feature of this device is the 2 eye tracking cameras for the purpose of foveated rendering. So this will increase the bit rate at the area that you're looking, so the quality of where you are looking is going to look fantastic, and less so in the surrounding area where you are not, giving the illusion of much better visual fidelity with roughly the same overhead. But this means something special. It means you can get more out of lesser hardware. And there is another crucial part of this, which I think is a game-changing feature, is that you can play flat-screen games on the headset. So the Steam library, much like you can on the Steam Deck, can be played native on the headset. When I say native, I do mean local on the headset. Of course, it's being run through software layers, but it's running local on the headset. As an experience, as a user, it's simply, here's a game, hit play, and I can play it. So it's almost like you have a Steam Deck and a VR headset combined into one. And I do want to talk more on this when we talk about the ecosystem and how this affects Quest VR and flat gaming. But the final product here is the controller. There is a new Steam controller, and what a chunky beast it is. It literally looks like they've taken 2 halves of a Steam Deck, removed the display, and have stuck it together. So at least it offers a familiar ergonomic feeling, again making it more consistent within the ecosystem. But the good thing is it has trackpads on it, which is better suited for a lot of PC-styled gaming, such as I'm a big fan of Command & Conquer, and using an analog stick to move the mouse around to play that title is just, it's not good. The remote's connectivity works via this puck, so if you wanted to use it for other systems you can, like a PC, because the Steam machine actually has this dongle built in, and you can connect up to 4 players via that single dongle. It also acts as a charging dock, so when you're done playing, you can put it down, and when you want to play again, you pick it up, you'll be connected instantly, and the device will be charged. It also has features like gyro control, HD rumble, but more importantly, magnetic joysticks to tackle the dreaded drift concerns and reduce the dead zone, making this a really great option if you're looking for a controller for longevity for PC gaming. Okay, now I know that was a lot, but you got the gist of what we're talking about here, the individual products that make up the Steam ecosystem. So now I want to talk about what made the Quest special, and then how the Steam has got an entire armory up its sleeve that should make Sony, Xbox, and Meta worried. So why did I like the Quest? The Quest has been a great device. It's offered gaming flexibility at a bargain price, offering a new way to experience things that no other medium was offering. Bar some fringe companies, of course. You can play VR wirelessly without anything but the headset. It was all built into one device. It was the first of its kind. No gaming PC, no sensors, and no wires. It then offered PC connectivity, opening up this huge library of amazing games such as Half-Life Alyx or the PC version of Robo Recall. It then started offering colored pass-through for productivity and mixed reality experiences. It became a powerhouse of a multimedia machine for movies, games, and work, and more recently as a flat-screen games console with the Xbox Cloud integration. They even offered an Xbox design headset. To me, this was the most insane piece of technology that I have ever owned, and you can get it for less than £400. I find it mind-blowing. The Quest has been a virtual reality gateway and a way of life for me because, well, I've had this channel for years now. But it's not perfect. VR has suffered from things like retention rates, the multiplayer curse, where people just disappear from online games and the game dies. Great games to play are few and far between. Games are also expensive, not relative to flat, but it seems like we all buy more frequently because we're always chasing that next great big thing in VR. We're looking for that next dopamine hit, and that doesn't make gaming as fun as it should be. And that also leads to the stories that we get every year. VR is dead, VR is regressing, we always get it. And recently, as an older PC VR gamer, the online world in Quest, or the Quest kind of ecosystem, the way that it's going, just doesn't seem like it's being made for me anymore. And I think in VR this is made worse due to the increase of presence that the medium provides. Those small annoyances become big ones, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But Valve has just pulled the biggest move that I have seen in gaming history that has changed how I think VR will be used and how people will approach the gaming industry as a whole. And I'm pretty excited. So what are Valve doing? They haven't just dropped a new VR headset, they have released an entire interconnected ecosystem of gaming devices running on SteamOS. SteamOS at the center of it all. And it's where one device elevates the experience of the next device, and vice versa. What do I mean by that? For example, the Steam Deck is an underpowered device for modern AAA titles, but it means you can play games on the go. It gives you freedom, and combining that with the Steam machine and stream that content to the handheld device, you'll get high-end visuals and be able to play newer titles, all streamed to a portable console. So at home you'll have like a Wii U experience, but better, improving the handheld experience. The Steam machine can also replace your home console and home PC, offering AAA high-end resolution gaming in a 6-inch cube, but leveraging the Steam library, the most consumer-friendly game store around. Games are so incredibly cheap during sale times. And the benefit of that is, since this is the same ecosystem and they support cloud saves, if you're playing a game on your TV on that machine, you then leave the house, you can continue playing that game on your Steam Deck if it's a compatible title. And you can even do that on your Steam frame, which I'll come on to. The Steam controller also then elevates both of those experiences, as you can play the Steam Deck docked, or you can play on the Steam machine and maintain the same ergonomic experience as the deck. And due to the trackpads, as I've already mentioned, certain PC titles are better suited to that style of play. Instead of just trying to play a point and click with an Xbox remote, which is awful, you can use the trackpads and enjoy a more familiar, better suited layout. And then the Steam frame takes this even further, combining all of those elements. The frame can also play flat screen experiences, so it's effectively a portable console that can offer an IMAX size screen where you can enjoy flat screen gaming, but localized, which Xbox Cloud Gaming on the Quest can't really compete with. I've not seen any confirmation on it, but I'm hoping, it'll be odd to me if this isn't true, is that you can play PC VR titles on the machine and then also stream that to the Steam frame, so you can play higher end VR experiences. And with that streaming, if you're taking advantage of foveated rendering, you'll be able to get better visuals and a better experience out of the lesser hardware that's going to be, I think, in this mid-range system. The real test is if it's going to be able to play Half-Life Alyx native on the headset or streamed from the machine at all. That's going to be the test, because Linus's video did show Half-Life Alyx, but that was being played on a gaming PC. It wasn't being streamed from the machine or native on the headset. And the thing that I was talking about with foveated rendering, why this is such an impressive thing that I suppose most consumers will not be aware of, but they will experience its benefits, is that developers don't need to enable this feature. This is a feature that is built into the Steam OS. It will use the eye tracking cameras that are in the Steam frame, and it will send you the high quality visuals at that point of where you're looking and lower the surrounding area. And that feature goes beyond just VR. That can also be used for flat screen gaming as well. As I said, the frame can also be a standalone VR device, just like the Quest. As to what VR games you can play on the library is yet to be seen. But another interesting part about this, which is where things get a bit contested, is they said you can sideload APKs onto the headset. That is exactly what we do now on our MetaQuest devices via SideQuest. We sideload APKs to play VR games and 2D applications. So does this mean that Quest titles can easily be ported to the Steam frame? The Steam frame is offering a slightly better chipset than the Quest as well. And day one, devs were already claiming that they're bringing their titles to this platform. So if it's true, the exciting library that's been built over these years on the Meta Store can maybe be replicated and moved over to Steam. So what does the Quest have left to make it unique or a better solution for media, flat gaming, or VR gaming? Color pass-through, I'll give it that. But I'm not seeing many. The price maybe as well. It seems the frame has not only improved upon everything that I thought made the Quest so appealing and made it unique, but it's taken it that step further to be one of the greatest gaming ecosystems I think we may have ever seen. becoming more than just a VR headset, becoming more than just a games console, becoming more than just a handheld. I'm so sorry for the rant. I'm just really excited, but I'm also curious about what this whole bundle is going to cost. I'm very excited to start building my Steam ecosystem, and this is an opportunity to make this style of gameplay mainstream for more casual consumers, because Steam, honestly, is where it's at. The trend at the moment seems to be, maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I'm going back and just enjoying the classic big hitting titles rather than chasing the latest and greatest. And I'm getting more enjoyment out of my gaming experiences because of that. And when Xbox and PlayStation are rumored to be pushing $1,000 for their next generation console, maybe people are going to come over to the dark side. Anyway, thank you for watching to the end of the video. Please let me know what you think, if you agree, if you disagree, what is your take. Hit subscribe, I'll really appreciate it, and join me for next time. Happy gaming, guys. Good day.